Hi guys, I'm Iain McIntosh, and today we've got a very special episode and also a very special guest. The showcase game has just finished here at the AEI Stadium. The first team in the end beating the under-18s. Iain, before we get on to anything that's been happening on the pitch for the first team, off it, like investment in terms of the club, let's start with today's game. If I'm being honest, I thought it was actually quite a close showing between the two sides.
Yeah, well, I've got to start by saying the special guest couldn't turn up, so you ended up with me, right?
Yeah, I think we've done better.
Look, I tell you what, tonight was really enjoyable, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I've managed over the last couple of years to pay special attention to our under-18s. We've got some real talent there. And so it became an obvious thing to do that when we had a spare Saturday, as we've now unfortunately got because of the cup exit, I said, well, you know, we've got people like Glenn in the first team coaching staff that really get an opportunity to see the kids. And I've watched them outclass Havant, down at Havant, in a game that really impressed me. We saw them here run a landslide almost against, who was it, Moneyfields?
Moneyfields,
last
I think,
game
yeah.
we played. And unfortunately, as is the case, last time out they ran up against a Winchester team that have been together for 3 years and are older, because most of those kids are only 16 or 17. And it seemed to me that the one way of giving them some reward, give them an exciting evening, and give our coaching team an opportunity to see people who are name and name only, really, was to play the game this evening. I will analyse it tactically for you.
Yeah.
I thought there was 11 players in blue and 11 players in the other colour, and I think the team in blue scored more than the team in yellow. And it was a good game to watch, and I think Gosport won, so we're quite happy.
I was going to say, football's always a winner, and Gosport's always a winner for that.
Absolutely right. And the hamburger was good.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Oh, the hamburger was lovely.
Yeah,
free promotion for you, Kat, in the bar.
So no, you want to talk about? Now listen, the whole idea of this facility is to generate a community feel, which I think we are doing in the club and have been doing for some time. But the fact that 300 people probably turned up this evening to see the first team play against the under-18s, hopefully the future first team with some of those players. This pitch and this facility gives you the opportunity to do that. I mean, had we been back on the old grass pitch like it was before, that was a good grass pitch, wasn't it? That, we'd be concerned about the weather forecast and if there was a game being played tomorrow, we couldn't have done it, and so on and so forth. And the one I missed apparently was quite good fun. We actually played the first team against the under-14 girls, didn't we?
Really? Yeah.
Did you miss that as well?
I think I missed that one.
Rafi was charging around with a bunch of 14-year-old girls.
Yeah.
No, it was before this game. So that was quite good fun. And of course, then we had the penalty competition.
Yep, saw that.
So listen, lots of people have come along tonight, and they've seen their own kids or their own players, and in some cases both, have a good fun night, hopefully, and they'll meet together in the bar afterwards. And I actually thought the under-18s, by and large, did themselves a lot of credit tonight. And of course, some of our first team players, look the part, don't they?
Definitely.
I mean, they've got some ability, and the turn and swivel from Fernandez at the end of the game was worth the entrance money on its own.
Pretty much got the money worth straight away from that.
So hopefully, including you, we've all enjoyed it.
I would have to admit, I mean, I really enjoyed it, and speaking to a lot of the fans around the stadium, they all sort of repeated it, saying it was nice to see that sort of showcase game.
Yeah.
But this game today, like I said, a showcase game.
Yeah.
Do you think this is an early sample of what could be to come in the future involving Gosport Borough, where we do get to see more games like this involving the whole of their community in more unique, fun ways?
I think you've got to. I mean, Premiership football, I think, has taken itself away and continues to take itself away from the average punter. I mean, we've got a free Saturday tomorrow. I thought, well, I wonder if I might take one of my grandkids to the football match in London, and I phoned up Chelsea this afternoon, and I can have a ticket for 125 quid and 75 quid for my grandchild. Well, now, fortunately, I can afford it, but I'm still not going to go.
Yeah.
But it seems to me that, Chelsea versus, I think it's, is it Brighton tomorrow? I think it's Brighton tomorrow. And you think that might be a quite good game to go and watch. But then, to be honest with you, I'm more likely to now look around the non-league fixtures and go and watch one of those games, purely and simply because it's just easier to go and see and quite entertaining to watch by and large. So I think from a, grassroots, not quite grassroots, but this sort of basic level of football, I think you can come along to a game like tonight, because tonight was an in-house game, and see a great game of football, bring your whole family for about 20 quid. Kids enjoy it here, they have a run around and they play, and we don't shake sticks at them and swear at them if they want to misbehave a little bit. But as far as the community is concerned, there's most of those kids in the under-18 team are either Gosport or very local to Gosport. A lot of the players in our first team are not. And that takes me back to when I was playing football about 400 years ago, when you probably find that most people at this level, even in teams like Gosport and Havant and Fareham, a lot of the lads were local. In fact, I think somebody said to me that the team that they revere, going back into the 1990s, as I understand it, about 8 of that first team were from Gosport. And it breeds that kind of real interest where people want to come along and see their son, their brother, their cousin, their boyfriend, their mate from school play football. And so if we can engender that kind of spirit with exhibitions like this on a regular basis, why wouldn't you do it?
Does that just illustrate though how important it is that we do give the under-18s a shot? So I know we've seen the likes of Ethan Jones, he's made his way into the first team, he looks to be a real promising player.
Yep.
Do you think we'll see a lot more under-18s come into the first team over the next few months?
We've got to. We've got to, because the money at this level's gone silly. We're now playing sides in the Southern Premier League who have £1,000 a week plus players on 52-week contracts. And some of them may be worth it, a lot of them aren't. When they talk about money in football filtering down, what filters down is the expectation of money, but not the reality of supporting clubs at this level money-wise. So I think the game loses something if it just becomes all about money, and even at this level a lot of it for some clubs is, and we don't want to go that route, because I think what's more important at this level, and what will be at the end of the day the way the game will go back to the roots that it had before, was that people will turn out in Gosport to watch Gosport Football Club because they can relate to the team, and not the other way around. We've got some good lads that are local, we've got some very good lads that are not so local, so we're fortunate we've got a great bunch at sensible prices, at sensible money. But I think that when we make an inquiry for a player and somebody says, I want £1,250 a week, and you say, well, this is the Southern Premier League, not the Premier League, perhaps we've made the wrong phone call. Football at this level can only sustain itself longer term if we have much more of a realistic expectation, and that's more likely to happen if you have more local players who've got a willing incentive to come and play here.
Definitely. You mentioned about that long-term future plan here at Gosport.
Yeah.
It feels like at this present moment, it feels like the whole club is going through a massive revolutionary period where a lot of things are changing on and off the pitch as well. Do you feel the same?
I think there's that famous old quote, I think it's more evolution than I think the revolution came about 7.5 years ago when I turned up and said, what the have I done? And it felt that way for some time. Funnily enough, COVID came along, and coming from a council house background as I did, I realised then, looking at this community, that there was going to be great need for some entity to reach out to the local community and provide them with some hope and sustenance for the problem that we had. And so we had this great sort of Feed the Family campaign, and not very much football for a period of time. And I think since then, the community that was clearly estranged from the football club for all kinds of reasons that we don't need to go into now, I think felt, well, maybe we've got this, we've lost the camera.
This is the joys of non-league though, Ian.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be without it.
Could be Heineken, it reaches the parts other beers cannot reach.
Exactly.
Oh no, the other way around, sorry.
Free sponsorship. The
problems we had during the time of COVID gave us an opportunity to reach out, and I think people have reached back. And since then, I think then it's been more evolution. If you think about Pat and Joe, and that great season we had under them, really robbed, weren't we? At Salisbury, I think that
terrible.
Even Salisbury people were apologising until after that game, and we could well have been in the final. Have a fair feeling that we might have won that final and gone into the level above, which would have been a nice thing to have done, because that would have made this thing even more important. But more importantly, it would have, generated the revenue you need to stay there. So I don't think revolution. I think evolution. I think it's sometimes difficult to actually put into place the plans that you've got, because things come along, like COVID, which was a positive, but like Pat and Joe leaving, which was a negative, that actually throw a spanner in the works. And at that point in time, you can sit down and say, well, what do we do now? Because that's that blueprint gone out the window. So you have to pick up and start again. And I think that's what we're doing on the field. You know, we've got a good squad. I think it's going to be competitive when we finally get to play our full first team. I think that Glenn and Dutchie have, you know, beginning to form a bond and understand each other a bit better, which is important. And a lot of the players who have played together for the first time, you know, it takes a while to understand, you know, each other's games. And we had a tough start to the season.
100%.
Played everybody that's above us and very few beneath us. Last couple of matches, without playing terribly well, we picked up good points that makes everybody feel a bit more positive about life in general. But I think that any team that ends up in the playoff zone this season is going to be a very good side. Because look at what's around us. I think it's probably the toughest it's ever been. As far as the club in general is concerned, what are we trying to do? It's always been a nice old stadium with a decent pitch. The problem is you've got a really football orientated community here with lots and lots of sides with really nowhere to play. And so the whole idea of the 3G facility, which has been done in conjunction with the football club and the local council, to whom we have to raise our caps, in fact some of them are here tonight as I understand it, is that we've now got a centrifugal force in the community to which we can expand through football to, you know, all genders and all ages of people who want to play football locally. They can come and play at a home that's right in the centre of their community, which I think is a nice thing to be able to do.
100%, because you mentioned there about how it's all sort of linking up now. So we've got all the young teams coming together, obviously the men's first team. However, something I do really want to heavily brush upon is the new introduction of our women's team. So we saw it today at half time. We've already talked about it, how we had the young girls team at half time. Looked like they were really enjoying their football. But it's great to see now they actually have role models to look at to in the local area, being that new women's first team. I know they've had a hard patch to the start of the season, but at least they are playing football under a club that really will respect them now.
Well, of course, you can't talk about that without mentioning the kind of sadness that there is about we've got a huge number of local teams, youth teams, not playing here, not affiliated to the football club, which causes confusion and I think for some people consternation as well. But of course, the ladies' team came to us toward the end of last season, having been effectively jettisoned from the operation that they were part of. And we felt it was just important at that point just to pick these girls up and say, well, you have a home, let's get through to the end of the season and take it from there. And we've done just that. You know, the ladies' team now is a fully integrated part of Gosport Football Club. And of course, you know, we've now got some junior ladies girls also playing in teams. And, you know, the sport in general, which didn't seem feasible when I was growing up, or even up until 25 years ago, was kind of a one-gender sport. You know, it was men, wasn't it, playing football. And now the ladies' team, you know, I mean, at senior level, they're outstripping the guys, aren't they, in terms of performance and cups. And so, you know, it's you know, men play football, girls play football, women play football. Anybody that plays football is entitled to play in the best environment, in the safest environment, the most professional environment we can. They've now got it.
They've got the tools.
They've got the tools. And the support of the football club and all the people, and specifically the coaches within it. And as you've seen tonight, I mean, our under-18s, I mean, that team's virtually been built again from scratch this year. And we've currently got about 9 or 10 of the previous under-18s team are playing out locally at teams like United Services, as far afield as Petersfield, and a number of them up the road at Fleetland. So we're trying to get those guys who could get lost to the Gosport Football Club playing at a decent level, who can't play under 18 anymore, but not quite ready maybe for the first team. And as you quite rightly also mentioned, we've got 3 or 4 kids out there tonight who I think could quite easily be members of the first team squad now, and certainly will be this time next year.
Definitely. I mean, it's such a bright future in, well, involving a lot of stuff, involving the players. But another heavily thing I really want to brush upon is moving pretty much away from Gosport and looking at some of the other teams in the local area. So I know we had US Portsmouth play here yesterday. I'm pretty sure we have another non-league team, Fleetlands, it might be Saturday, I think it is. But it just shows it's not even just Gosport this benefits, bringing in that new pitch. We're also helping out other local teams as well.
Yeah, well, you know, definition of local, I mean, obviously Fleetland's just up the road. I mean, some people class them as opposition. I prefer to think of them as friends playing football at a different level. United Services, of course, that looked like a good link because, let's face it, Gosport, Portsmouth, that link needs to be stronger than it is from a football point of view, and United Services, reflects it's fundamentally the Navy, and we thought putting our lads out to play for the naval side, probably based in Portsmouth originally, would have been a good thing to do, but now United Services are finding themselves with some problems of their own at their home, and so we naturally reached out and said, well, you can come and play here as you see fit, which means that you've got clubs that you're loaning your players to that are actually playing here, so fans, when they've got nothing else to do or they want to come and watch the kids play, can come to this ground and watch them. We've also got Crofton, another reasonably local side. They're only literally 4.5 miles up the road, who are straining to get out of Hampshire League into Isthmian, and they need to do that. They need a ground qualification, which they don't think they can meet where they are, and so they're going to be playing here, on some Saturdays as well. So it's nice to be able to say to all these clubs, and let's face it, you've either got maybe players that have got on a bit in their life who are playing at those clubs, or you've got players that actually potentially are looking to aspire to this level and above. And if we can actually have them hosted here and play in the best surface in the best environment with a few people watching them, it's good for everybody.
Definitely. And I'm sure all the Gosport fans, even if they're not fans of that club, come down, watch the football. Everyone just loves a little bit of local football. But pulling it back against Gosport, like we said, we've had a very hard start to the season, played some of the big boys, Gloucester, Farnham, yet we're still in quite a good position in the league. I think we're a few points off the playoffs last time I checked.
Only 2?
Yeah, 2 points now.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you see us now finishing come the end of the season? I know it's early, but just some early predictions.
I think at this stage of the year, I think you've got to get to at least double figure performances before you can really judge.
Yeah.
And if you look at the start that we've made, we were 3-1 up against Farnham.
Yeah.
And should have won the game. We were, I think, outplayed entirely by Walton-on-Thames, or whatever they call themselves these days. But I think that that's the one game that I think that we just weren't at the races, as it were. Gloucester, in the opening game of the season, we probably had 2 or 3 chances before they had a chance. So in most of the games, with the exception of maybe Walton and Uxbridge, I think we've been worth something, or should have got, or could have got something out of the game. Now, as I said to you earlier on, we've yet to play our strongest team. If for one reason or another we've been short. You saw Fernandez come on there tonight and play his first 5 minutes or 20 minutes of football since the start of the season. Ethan seems to score every time he plays, but he didn't play for 3 games, including the cup match, which was a big blow. You've got Charlie Gunson, who's in and out and trying to get back in, and every now and again he gets a setback. You had Tarbs, who's only just come back in the side, and what difference he makes. So it's difficult to assess where we are quite at this moment in time, apart from the fact that when you look at the teams we've played, Gloucester, Walton, who have I missed? Poole, obviously.
Poole Town, yeah.
And the Cup's always a little bit different, I think, but Gloucester, Walton for sure, and Farnham, then we can't be scared by that competition. We just need to be aware of the fact they're good sides. But I think that some of our players would walk into any of those teams, and I think that on our day we will be a match for them, and that's all I can say. So, you'd like to think that we've got every chance of being in the mix. It's too early to tell.
Well, I have to admit, I'm still buzzing for this season. I think you've just built it perfectly there. So much to play for this season, and it could really just go any way, I suppose, this season. But just pulling it back now, one last note I do want to heavily speak about is the fans. When I first joined the club in 2023, I think we were recording average home attendances of 650, 670, around that margin.
Not sure it was that high. But
yeah, but that's what I mean, perhaps even lower.
Yeah.
This average season, we're ranking, I think, 3rd in the table when it comes to all the Southern Premier League.
3rd,
Yes,
depending on what games. Some of the clubs have played big local derbies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But always averaging around mid 800s, I want to say now. I think that just really shows how far along we've come within at least the last 3 years.
I tell the story because I've got to keep reminding myself. the first home game we had here after I took over was against Salisbury on a wet Tuesday night, and it was almost without doubt the worst game of football I've ever seen. It was 0-0, and it rained. And the crowd was 151, and 50 of those had come from Salisbury.
Wow.
Yeah, so I went back into the clubhouse afterward, and I thought, what have I done? You know, because it was a bit of a come down from where I'd been. And over the period of time, I've actually asked those that were around 15, 20 years ago, even as recently as 2014, in the heyday. Glenn, of course, was part of one of those sides. And from what I can see and what I can actually find in the records, Gosport has never been what I would consider to be a well-supported club in terms of volume. Because well-supported can mean a couple of things. It can mean the number of fans. You can have a number of fans in the stadium that's stone silent. You can have a small number of fans in the stadium, like our away fans are right now, and it makes a real atmosphere. Because you look at sport coming from Frank Park, aren't you? Yeah. 21,000 people turn up on a regular basis to watch the football. And I once said to somebody, if you put a blue shirt, white shorts, red socks on a clothesline in Copner, and it blew in the wind, 5,000 Pompey fans turn up to watch it. Well, we're getting a bit that way here now. We're averaging this year about 900, even now. I don't think we've given them a great deal to shout about, apart from maybe the Farnham game, which I thought was an excellent game of football. And we take away with us now a group of fans that really remind me of the Pompey fans. I mean, not quite the same volume, but we've probably got 50 or 60 and maybe even more that go to every game. I mean, Weymouth on a Tuesday night.
I know.
And they frankly make more noise than anybody else in the ground.
They out-sing everyone.
And as of Tuesday night, it was a good idea. Wednesday night, it was a good idea they did, because there wasn't much other noise going on. So I'm actually taken aback by the fans and the support that we get from them. And I'm delighted too, because our ambition has to be Conference South. I think Conference South is at the right sort of level for this club and its potential ongoing. Who knows? 80,000 people live here. Yeah. As many people live in Burnley. But I'm delighted. I'm over the moon. Not only just with the number of them, but their attitude. I mean, they're a pleasure. I mean, we've just had 2 games, unfortunately, haven't we, where our stewards have been terrified by people turning up with knives or deliberately, wrecking places before they get to the ground, and we've had to call the police in and so on and so forth. We went to, I think it was Uxbridge, wasn't it? And,
the recent one.
Uxbridge. Yeah. And they didn't know, but they'd taken the position of the home fans behind the goal. Yeah. And one of the directors of Uxbridge, nice lady, she came up to me after, she said, you know what, your fans, she said, they're absolutely unbelievable. She said that when I asked them if they'd mind moving, and they started chanting, we're Gosport, we stand where we want. But more importantly, when the other fans came along, they mixed together. Yeah. And apparently, what was the other game, the other away game? I'm losing my games a little bit. The one, Yate Town. Yeah, when they mixed in with the away fans, and when their stewards came and tried to move the Gosport fans, the Yate fans said, no, leave them here. Yeah. And that's great. I mean, it's just good, and we can build on it, and really want to build on it, because all of a sudden the club, I mean, you get 900 people here. It makes quite an atmosphere. We've had more than that on occasion. We get really quite nice compliments from the opposition when they come. They say they like the ambience and the friendliness of the place, and that's part of football. Because at this level, that's what it should be. That's what it should be, for sure.
Well, I think, we better let you go. I mean, the floodlights they've all turned off in the stadium, and I think there might be some people downstairs just wanting to chat with this special guest. Yeah. However, for anyone watching, I've got a very funny feeling that we might just have Iain on the podcast. If you would be up for it?
Yeah, I'll do it.
100%. There we go. We've got in video evidence. So worst case, I have to hold you back to it now.
And those last 3 words. Play up Pompey. Oh, no, up the Borough.
Up the Borough. Don't listen to Iain. Up the Borough. Love it, Iain.